Hello YouTube, my name is Isabella and today I'm going to be doing a really fun book haul, at least for me, hopefully for you as well. I've been having, I think, great success with doing these quarterly. Over the past year and a bit, have been trying to be a lot more mindful with the amount of books I have bought and to varying degrees of success. For the most part, it's been good. This haul, however, is a little bit bigger than I intended because in May I sort of went off the rails. I was feeling real sorry for myself and indulged a bit. So the other 2 months of me purchasing, I only think I got like 4 books each, but it was May that was the kicker. I think I've read an okay chunk of them as well, so let's just get into the video. So I purchased 4 books in April, the first being The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. It caught my eye when I noticed that it has now been released in paperback, and so I just kind of hopped onto it. I have been really desperate to read this book. A lot of people absolutely loved this. It's the first book in an adult fantasy trilogy in which I think our main character, her father, is the emperor and his rule is failing, yet he still refuses to acknowledge her as heir, so she's determined to learn the forbidden art of bone shard magic. I have been desperate to start this series, but then I found out it was a trilogy and book 2 is only just set to come out, I think, in November. So as much as I want to read this book, I'm going to wait on it a little bit longer, but I am genuinely very, very excited for this. Really want to get to it. I also went and purchased Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. I bought this pretty much on a whim. I wasn't intending to buy it as quickly as I did and actually read it as quickly as I did, so I figured I might as well complete the collection, and I've actually read and reviewed this already, so if you're interested in my thoughts, I'll have them linked down below. This is the second and final book in the King of Scars duology. Follows characters you really shouldn't be naming, and I actually quite enjoyed this, significantly more than King of Scars, so it was a pleasant surprise, and if you're interested, my thoughts are down below. I also found Theft of Swords used at a used bookstore. I don't know when. I honestly don't remember when I went because I thought I was in lockdown in April, but clearly not. But this is the first 2 books. It's a bind-up of the Rhaeria Revelations. A lot of people really like Michael J. Sullivan's works, and I've kind of been seeing him pop up a little bit more frequently. The 2 main characters are mercenaries, and they sell their swords to the highest bidder, and then they take a simple job, but turns out they're getting framed for the murder of a king, and kind of the plot unravels from there. I've seen pretty good reviews for this. I know it's supposed to be quite a traditional sword and stone sort of fantasy, which I always like, and I'm glad to have found this used. The final thing I bought in April was 21 Things You May Not Know About the Indian Act, Helping Canadians Make Reconciliation with Indigenous Peoples a Reality by Bob Joseph. I also have read this already. Don't remember when I read it. This is a bite-sized nonfiction about exactly what the subtitle says. It's 21 facts that you may not know about the Indian Act, which was enacted, if I remember correctly, 1876. There was some stuff I knew and a lot of stuff that I didn't, and a lot of stuff that has really stuck out to me as well throughout the course of Canadian history. I definitely recommend picking this up if you're interested in nonfiction. It was quite an upsetting, but I think a very valuable read. I also pre-ordered Joan He's The Ones We're Meant to Find. This I pre-ordered because I did really like her first book, The Descendant of the Crane, but I also specifically pre-ordered this because Joan He got screwed over by her publisher for her first book, so I wanted to show some support. This is a young adult sci-fi / dystopian. I think it has a lot to do with ecological possible disasters set in a futuristic world, and I know it follows 2 sisters. One wakes up on a beach but remembers nothing other than the fact that she has a sister, and then the other sister living in the eco world. Not a great description, but Joan He writes kind of mysterious sorts of stories, and I'm interested to give it a shot. and this cover is just absolutely stunning, so I had to pick it up. Another pre-order of mine was People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I really liked Beach Read by Emily Henry and thought I was going to love this, so I had it pre-ordered. This is a romance book about two characters who've been friends since college, and every year they go on a vacation together, but like circumstances has sort of kept them apart, and then we pick up at the story where they haven't really communicated for the past 2 years because something went really, really wrong on their last vacation. And so our main female character is determined to kind of set things right, and romance ensues. I enjoyed this a lot while I was reading it, but then when you sit and think about certain events, it just doesn't quite make as much sense, or like it was a bit ridiculous, a bit over dramatic and over the top from what I was expecting, especially coming off like Beach Read. Yeah, slightly more melodramatic than I was really hoping for. I think I gave this 3 stars. I enjoyed it, but it's not a new favorite by any means. All right, now we're starting on to the pity books. The next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 were purchased because I was really in my feels and feeling very sorry for myself. So I went rogue and spent a lot of money on some books. I picked up Son of the Storm by Suyi Davies Okumbawa and totally forgot what it's about. Yeah, the only thing I really remember about it is that our main character is a very clever scholar. He's not a fighter in any sense of the word, and then he discovers a warrior wielding magic that shouldn't exist. He's put on a collision course with dark secrets. Pretty interested in this. I know C.D. Davies has another book that people have talked about pretty well as well, but I guess I grabbed this one. I've been really feeling Orbit titles as of late, and this is also the first book in a new trilogy, so I might wait a little bit to get started because I've started so many new books and trilogies recently, but that is a problem for future me. These next few books are all a part of the same order because, again, feeling sorry for myself. But I also grabbed A Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martin. This is the first book in a sci-fi adult duology that has come very, very highly reviewed. It won the Hugo in 2020, and I'm just super excited and intrigued by it. From my understanding, the world is really cool because of the way I think like their culture is defined by like naming things, and the way they name things is super cool. It's not very descriptive, sorry, but I don't actually remember. I know our main character is arriving to a new planet because she's set to be an ambassador, or like an assistant to an ambassador, and then she finds out the person she's supposed to be working for has been murdered, and nobody really wants to tell her what's going on, and so she kind of has to try and figure out what's gone on. I'm very intrigued by this, hope to pick it up sooner rather than later. People love this series, and especially the second book, so I'm like super, super excited to give this one a shot. I also delightfully, on a whim, grabbed Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. This is the first book in a middle grade series. I don't know how long it's set to be, and I've read this and I loved it. I gave it a glowing 5 stars. This was such a freaking delight. This follows Amari, whose brother has gone missing, and she is determined to figure out what happened to him. Everyone else thinks that he's just gone off and was like doing bad things, but she knows better. And in her quest to save her brother, she discovers the Bureau of Supernatural Affairs, which is a magical entity that basically is responsible for keeping humans and supernatural beings working in harmony, but the humans don't know that supernatural beings exist. This was a friggin' delight. If you like middle grade, I highly recommend picking this up. I also grabbed Valor by John Gwynne. This is the second book in the Fateful and the Fallen series, which a lot of people have been talking about, and I want to actively continue the series and not just have read the first book and kind of just let it like sit there and waiting. I am actually supposed to be reading this in the month of July, so hopefully I will pick it up very soon, and I'll probably do a review for it as well. The first book is set in a very traditional fantasy setting in which like old magic is sort of coming back to this land and threatening to upend everything. So a small group of people are trying to work towards defeating this old magic and these old gods, but prophecies, corrupt people, and whatnot are getting in the way. I liked the first book, but I didn't love it. But a lot of people really swear by like the future entries into the series, so I'm interested to see. I also grabbed Know My Name by Chanel Miller. This is a nonfiction. It's a memoir about Chanel Miller. If you're not familiar with her, she was Jane Doe in the Brock Turner rape case. This was a case that I had followed for quite some time before Chanel Miller actually came out and decided to declare that she was the victim in this case. I don't know why I decided to purchase it in the mood that I was in, because I guess it was like, let's just make me sadder, but I have not yet read this. I'm not quite ready to read it because it is going to be incredibly heavy, but I knew this was a book I wanted to read. And if purchasing it also helps support Chanel Miller, that's what I was gonna do. So not excited for this in the slightest, but I will read it, hopefully this year. I picked up Hollowpox, The Hunt for Morgan Crow. This is Nevermore Book 3 by Jessica Townsend. I have caught up in the series except for this entry. I'm now perpetually terrified that this series is going to go out of print, so I figured, you know what, just buy it now so you don't have to hunt for it used and spend a crazy amount of money. I have enjoyed the Nevermore series so far, but not absolutely loved it. Like, I really liked the first one. The second one was okay for me, so I'm hoping I really love this. And I'm unsure as to where or when I'm going to pick this one up, because I believe the release date for book 4 has been pushed back to 2022, I think, like fall 2022 if I'm not mistaken. So I might wait a little while to pick this up, but I've been enjoying middle grade more recently, so I kind of want to continue this trend. Also, and these books are just so stunning that, like, I just absolutely love these UK editions. So yeah, treat myself, right? And a part of my UK haul purchasing, whatever you want to call it, I grabbed Skyward and Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. I, again, have been wanting to read these for a long time. They went out of print, so when I saw they were back in stock, and that never happens for UK hardcovers, I jumped at the chance to purchase them. I have read Skyward. I finished it about a week ago, and Starsight, don't know exactly when I'm going to start it, but I don't know, hopefully I can continue on with the series. I've been starting so many series recently, and it's something I'm always doing, but it's bad right now, like really bad. But anyway, Skyward follows a teen girl who is desperate to be a pilot. The remnants of humanity live on this sort of rundown world, and there is this alien species who is determined to eradicate humankind, but she is not allowed to be a pilot because her father is infamously known for being a deserter, and that is the absolute worst thing you can be in this world. And I'm very excited to read book 2 because the reveals, we have some classic Brandon Sanderson twists and reveals that made me very interested for the course, the future of the series. And yeah, I quite enjoyed Skyward, so I'm excited. The next 4 books were all pre-orders because in June, I technically had a punishment in which I was not allowed to be purchasing books at all. But of course, a majority of the books I had pre-ordered for the year fell in June. So all of these books were books I pre-ordered and not ones that I actively went out and purchased. So anyway, I pre-ordered For the Wolf by Hannah Whitten. This is comped a lot to Uprooted, which I liked but didn't love, and it follows a girl who's sent to be sacrificed to the wolf because she has magical abilities that are incredibly dangerous. This is clearly giving all the wintry, foresty vibes that I'm super sold on. Also, just noticed that this is a part of a fucking series, so I'm not gonna get started on it just yet. What is it with Orbit this year? Or maybe it's just because I've been paying so much attention to Orbit, but they're all first books in a series. And I'm gonna wait on this one because I'd like to read it when it's a bit wintry out. But I'm excited to give this a try. A lot of people have also really liked this book. I also ordered The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri, literally one of my absolute most anticipated releases of the year, and I loved it. I super loved it. Check out my review if you want my full thoughts. This follows two main perspective characters, Malini and Priya. Malini is an exiled princess who's like set to live her exile on a magical and abandoned kind of terrifying place, and Priya is kind of forced into being Malini's handmaiden, and Priya also has like forbidden hidden magic, and they decide that maybe if they could possibly work together, they could achieve their own separate goals. I love this book. I love Tasha Suri. Please pick it up. Please, please, please. It's fantastic. Also the first book in a new trilogy. But I am gladly and very excitedly anticipating book 2 whenever we get that. I know it's not going to be for a while, but this is what I get for reading releases on time. I also purchased One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. Also have read it. This is a romance book set in New York City. August has just moved there and kind of falling in with a new group of friends, and then August is really struck by this really attractive stranger on the subway to find out that her subway crush is actually stuck in time and on the subway and cannot leave. And romance ensues. I liked it but didn't love it. I don't know what it is about romance books that are bumming me out this year. I did like it though. Just not like an all-time favorite like I was hoping. The final, not quite the penultimate book, because I have a special edition to show in a second. Don't know where the dust jacket went, but it's Witch Shadow by Susan Dennard. This is the 4th book in the Witchland series. I'm currently reading it. I've got about 150 pages left and hoping to finish it today, but we'll see about that. I've talked about this series so much over the course of my channel and over like super recently, so I won't talk about it now, but you should know. Truth Witch being the first book, absolutely love this series. Really intrigued by where this is going to go, because it's not exactly what I anticipated. So I think the last 150 pages are really going to solidify my thoughts. God, it's so hot in here. I am dying. I hate filming in the summer. It's the worst. The last 2 books that I have on here, I don't actually even remember exactly when they came in. So we're talking about them at the end of the video. And I think I've already shown them in my mid-year book freakout tag, but still gotta haul them. And that's Days of Blood and Starlight and Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor. I love Laini Taylor. Anytime they put out editions of her books, I'm probably going to buy them. These were Illumicrate editions. They're books 2 and 3 in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy, which I'm desperate to reread. I have to reread it by the end of the year. There's like no excuse. But these are like absolutely gorgeous. I love the sprayed edges. They're beautiful. And I'm glad my series and my set is now completed. I technically bought them last year, but they only shipped this year. Anyway, I love them. They're so pretty. So these are all the books that I purchased in the past 3 months. A little bit more than I wanted to. And I've already purchased a couple books in July, so that'll be in quarter 3 haul, but hopefully I'm slowing down because it's a little too much for me. Let me know down in the comments below if you have any thoughts on any of the books that I mentioned here today. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.